Okay, so here we have this kinematics question. How long does it take a boat to accelerate from rest to a speed of 50 kilometers per hour if it covers a displacement of 100 meters in that time? And there's the answer there, 14 seconds. So you could try it yourself and see if you can get that. But we're going to go into this solution. So with any physics question, it's a good practice to start by writing down everything you're given in the question. So here, it says it accelerates from rest. So that tells us that the initial velocity is 0 to a speed of 50 kilometers per hour. So we know that that is the final speed in this situation. It covers a displacement of 100 meters. So that tells us that delta D equals 100 meters. We are not given an acceleration number, and it's asking how long does it take. So that is delta T, which we also don't know. So delta T is the thing it's asking us to find. So when we try and find one of our kinematics equations, it's going to have delta T in it. So we want to look at our equations and find one that has delta T and then the other things that we know. So here we know V1, we know V2, and we know delta D. So we need to find an equation that has those things in it. And we have one. Delta D equals V average times delta T. And V average can just be written as V1 plus V2 divided by 2 times delta T equals delta D. Now all of this is happening in one dimension, so everything is just happening in a straight line. So I'm just going to define to the right as positive, the positive direction, and now instead of using vector symbols over all my variables, I'll just use positive numbers to represent moving to the right and negative numbers to represent anything pointing to the left. So delta D we know is 100, and it's in the positive direction. V1 is 0. Now V2 we know is 50 kilometers per hour, but delta D is in meters. So we need to make sure we have them in compatible units. So let's convert V2 into units of meters per second. So we'll do that on the side here. So 50 kilometers per hour. If we want to convert that, we need to divide by, if you remember this conversion, divide by 3.6. Takes you directly to units of meters per second. So that is 13.89 meters per second. I'm keeping some extra digits so that we just round at the end to keep our answer as accurate as we can. So now let's put that number in. V2 is 13.89 meters per second divided by 2 times delta T. Now delta T is the only variable left in this equation. We know everything else. So all we have to do is do the math to isolate it. So if we follow through here, we get 13.89 divided by 2 times delta T. Now if we multiply both sides by 2, we can get rid of that 2 in the denominator. We'll end up with this. Then if we divide both sides by 13.82, we can make this go away, And we're left with our final answer, 14 seconds equals delta t. So that's how long it takes the boat to accelerate from rest to a speed of 50 kilometers per hour if in that time it covered 100 meters.